you guys, today I'll be doing a video on the Kite Runner. So this is in a preparation test. So I do have many videos on the Kite Runner, a full video with the summary, the explanation on the characters, the themes, the taking place of events, a video with everything basically. And I do have summaries talking about literary devices and the events that took place. So if you want to watch these videos, then you can just go to my YouTube channel and you'll directly find them because I don't have that much videos. And you can go to my Google Classroom, which I'll put the link for below, where I have many notes on the Kite Runner, and I'll be putting this test. I already put this test actually, but in this video I will be solving the test and just revealing the answers and the way you answer these questions, and the best examples, the best proofs, what way to answer, and just giving you a better idea of the test. And this test will help you identify if you really understood the novel, the meaning behind the novel, the characters, the intentions, the motives, the actual themes. So each one. So these are the these are the objectives. So basically that's what I expect myself to know after I read a novel, obviously. So the analysis of characters, how's this character, how can you describe them, why can you describe them that way, when did they demonstrate this specific character trait. And then you have the events that took place. Of course, you have to know what happened. That's like the most basic thing. And then you have the figurative language, so the similes, the metaphors, because similes and metaphors are the ones that are most used, especially similes. And then you have others, such as hyperboles, because they really show the extent of the feelings of a character. And you have many others. And then you have quotations, the important quotes, the quotes that stand out. Why do they stand out? Who said them? When did they say them? And then you have the acknowledgement of themes, of course, that fit the novel with elaboration. So you have to know which theme fits where, the main theme, the small themes, who displays which theme. In the Kite Runner, for example, Baba and Amir display the theme of family. Amir and Hassan display the theme of brotherhood and friendship. Then you have the main theme of the whole novel, which is guilt and redemption. So there's many themes, but of course the main one is guilt and redemption. And then you have the awareness of the plot. So what's the actual plot, the exposition, the rising action, the climax, all of these things. And then what is the rising action, when did it happen, which chapter, and then the evolution of the characters. So how did Amir change from this selfish, arrogant child to the selfless adult who sacrifices a lot. And then you have identification of settings in the novel through interpretation. And then, for example, the old Afghanistan, the new one, what's the difference? What does Afghanistan symbolize? What does it stand for? The old Afghanistan reminds Amir of what happened with Hassan, the traumatizing event of 1975. And then what does California represent? It represents freedom, all of these things. Okay, I've been talking for a while now, so I'll be a bit faster. And then understanding narrative tone and point of view. So what's the tone of this, chapter? Why is it that way? And then the point of view. So basically it's first person. Most of the book is first person. And how does that narrator feel? Why is he using the certain tone he's using? All of these things. So let's begin. So the first exercise is basically basic. So we have to choose the correct answer or answers. So the first question, what is the common issue of Afghanistan? So basically there's two answers. It's identity and power. So basically identity and power. Why is it identity and power? So basically in Afghanistan, we know that there's many problems when it comes to the ethnicities. The Pashtuns and the Hazaras were mostly talked about, but there's many ethnicities in Afghanistan. There's like 9. And the fights between them, the racism, the hate, they're not united as one country. And for example, why Baba could never admit that Hassan was his son was due to Hassan's ethnicity. He could never admit that Hazara was his son because his place in society would be changed. The people would look at him in a different way. He couldn't shed that light upon himself. And then you do have power, because power is fought over a lot. When the Soviets take over, then the Taliban take over, and all of these things happen. Not only that, not only when it comes to, countries and civilizations, but also when it comes to one-on-one interactions, like for example with Hassan and Amir would always, want to be the superior one. He would always push Hassan down, always make Hassan feel as if he's stupid, so it's identity and power, mostly identity, but power can also be a correct answer. And then you have, what does California symbolize in the novel? So obviously it symbolizes freedom because it gives Amir the opportunity to forget what happened in Afghanistan. It's a new setting, it's a new place. It doesn't remind him every time. He still does feel nostalgic and he always remembers. And some moments will always trigger him, but of course not as much as Afghanistan. And not only that, but Amir had the choice to choose the place where he will study, not the place where he will study, actually the major he will study, because in Afghanistan it was always looked down upon when a male, because the stereotypes in Afghanistan are stereotypes. A female is supposed to do this and that, and the male is supposed to do this and that. Males should usually be more athletic, they should be violent. Males were always encouraged towards violence. For example, in the Kite tournament, that tournament was quite violent and only males played in it. Baba constantly disapproved of Amir's literature. Like when Amir wrote that book, Baba didn't even read it, he didn't even give it any attention. So obviously it also gave him the opportunity to study what he wanted, because if he had stayed in Afghanistan, there would have been a big chance that he would not have ended up majoring in English literature at university, if he'd even gone to university, because the circumstances in Afghanistan are horrible. So let us continue. So question 3. So who is Asif's role model? This is basically just, if you focus throughout reading, it's a really basic question. It's Adolf Hitler, and this displays how violent Asif is, his violent nature. And question 4, what does Asif symbolize? So this answer is also quite clear. It's the evil in Afghanistan, because he represents the racism. He has so much hate in his heart. He is so violent. All the acts he commits are violent. He hits Amir. He always threatens to hit him. He, abuses Hassan sexually. So he does many things that are evil, and not one thing he had done was good. And he also, took advantage of Sohrab, and the man did many things. And then we have the last multiple choice question, which is, who is Baba's foil? So we have Rahim Khan, who is his best friend. No, he is not his foil, because they're quite alike. And then you have Amir. No, Amir is not his foil. So in the beginning of the novel, Amir always felt like he was so different from his father. And even Baba said that Amir is... But when in chapter 4, Amir heard Baba telling Rahim Khan that if I hadn't seen Amir come out of my wife, I wouldn't even think he's my son. But in the end, it did show that they are quite alike, because they both went through guilt because they betrayed people that were very close to them, Ali and Hassan. And not only that, but they had to go through redemption. Now, Baba never really went through redemption. He did many things to redeem himself, such as giving Hassan the cleft lip surgery to fix his cleft lip. And Amir tried many things. Most importantly, of course, was taking in Sohrab after Hassan passed away. But he also tried redeeming himself with the pomegranate, after he threw the pomegranate at Hassan and wanted Hassan to throw it back at him, but Hassan never did so. So he also tried that. But the obvious answer, and of course it isn't Jan al-Tahiri, because they do have many things in common, and they also have many things that are different, and I can discuss that in another video, because I have many questions discussing them, and I discussed Jan al-Tahiri and Baba in a question. But no, they do have many similarities, such as being very career focused. They were kind of both traditional in different ways, though, but they still had this this attachment to tradition. So Baba's foil is obviously Ali, because Ali was an extremely religious man, while Baba was not. Ali would always worry about Hassan. Baba never really worried about Amir. They were just really different characters, and they did display the difference in each other. Especially how Baba treated Amir and his interactions with Amir, how cold they were, yet how close Ali was with Hassan. So obviously these two are the foil characters. Now let's have true or false. So Hassan is older than Amir. False. So Amir is older than Hassan in 1 year. Amir was born in 1963 and Hassan was born in 1964. And then 2, Baba gets shot. So basically this is a really, really easy question, because it's just 3 points. No, Baba never gets shot. This event never takes place. 3, 3. Amir turns out to be extremely religious like Baba. Okay, so the first part, Amir turns out to be extremely religious, is true, but the second part is false. So the answer to this question is it's false, because Amir does turn out to be extremely religious, but unlike Baba, because Baba was never religious, he called religious men monkeys, and he never really abided by religion and never really had a deep feeling towards it. And then we have 4. Suraya was not finding a husband because she was infertile. False. Suraya was not finding a husband because she had a shady past. So basically, a similar thing between Amir and Suraya was that they both had pasts that they wanted to forget. They wanted to run away from them. And the past Suraya had was that she ran away with a man who was not doing good things. So that was the reason, and what she did was considered taboo, especially in the Afghan community. So that's why no family wanted Suraya to marry their son. And then the Taliban cherishes Afghan traditions. False, because the Taliban banned kite running, which was one of the most cherished Afghan one of the most cherished Afghan traditions, and they didn't let the Afghan people live in freedom or joy, and they only wanted things to be their way, which was pure violence. So definitely not, it's false. When Amir hits Hassan with the pomegranate, Hassan picks one up and throws it back at him. False, Hassan does not do that. Hassan picks one back up and throws it at himself, which makes Amir feel even worse, because this event displays Hassan's undying loyalty while Amir betrayed him, sadly. Asif gives Amir a fiction book for his birthday. False, Asif gives Amir a book about Adolf Hitler. It talks about him, basically. As a price to get through the checkpoint, the Russian wants more money. False, the Russian wanted to spend time with the lady, but of course Baba saves her. But no, he did not want money. He wanted to spend time with the lady that was with them in the bus. Okay, so we have, these are oral, obviously. Exercise 3. So you have to answer the following questions based on our interpretation of the novel, using elements from the novel to solidify our answer. So is letting go of the past possible? So this is obviously a question that it can be answered differently. There's no right answer for this question. So we have to basically, how to answer this question is you have to say yes or no. My answer is that yes, letting go of the past is possible due to the fact that after Amir witnessed Hassan's rape, he was traumatized for many years. He could not recover from it no matter what he did. But in the end, after he adopted Sohrab and took him in, he was able to let go of the past in that event that traumatized him, because he was focusing on something new, and he knew that by taking in Sohrab, he fixed whatever he did, betraying Hassan. And then we have question 2. What did Amir symbolize? What did America symbolize for Amir and Baba? What does it represent? So basically, America symbolized. Okay, so now we have to talk for Amir, and then we have to talk for Baba. So first for Amir, so we have to say that America symbolized freedom for Amir, because Afghanistan, being in Afghanistan was like being imprisoned for Amir, because his mind was always focused on the same thing. Hassan. What happened to Hassan? Why didn't I defend Hassan? Why didn't I help Hassan? I'm such a bad person. I'm such a bad friend. He became insomniac. So basically, and there's this specific quote, I'm not sure in which chapter, but it says, America was a place for me to bury my memories, and the place for Baba to mourn his. So we can start the answer for this question with that quote. And then we can say that Amir was trying to let go of what happened in America, and due to the fact that America is a new setting, it helped Amir overcome what happened, because he started from fresh there. He met Suraya, he majors in English literature, he focused on that, and he was slowly able to not forget, but kind of be distracted, And then for Baba went from being this important person in society who was needed and respected by everyone, and he was this noble man who had lots of money and lived in one of the best places, the Wazir Akbar Khan district, I think that's what it's called, yes. And he was a successful businessman, and he had many relations, to being a man who worked in a gas station. So as you can see, this was a lot for Baba. And what does it represent? So again, for Amir, it represented a place for him to forget his memories and build new ones, and for Baba to mourn his, and just remember all these great days in Afghanistan. Question 3. Why can Amir be called the protagonist in the novel? So this is a tricky question. It's actually a nice question because as you can see throughout the novel, Amir did many bad things, and he can kind of be considered an antagonist. Because if you Google it, you can Amir can be called sometimes an antagonist by different websites, but he is a protagonist because the genre of this novel is a buildings roman. Is it called? Yeah, it's, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, but it's a buildings roman, and basically in the buildings roman, the protagonist grows into it's like the journey of the protagonist and how they grow. So Amir grows from this selfish kid who, you know, always cherished materialistic things, and that's all he cared about, and he always wanted the attention to himself, and he think that, you know, everything was owed to him, to this selfless adult who sacrificed so much for his family, who, loved his family and just cared for the non-materialistic things and for the important things. So you can see how Amir changed, and that's why he can be considered a protagonist. So you talk about a genre of the novel, and then you talk about him as a character and how and his evolution, because he didn't stay the same. Amir changed throughout the whole novel. And then let's continue. Next questions. What is what is Baba's concept of sinning? So Baba's concept of sinning was mentioned, I think, once or twice throughout the novel, and it's basically that everything is considered theft, and if you kill someone, it's considered stealing their life. If you commit adultery, it's considered stealing a man's wife. So basically everything for him is theft in different shapes and forms. What does his view on sins tell us about his character? So it shows us how untraditional and unconventional Baba can be at times, and how he views things in such a different way. And it actually shows that he's kind of a smart man in the way he thinks, and he is unique. So it does show that how untraditional he is and how abstract his ideas may be. And then question 5, what is Amir and Hassan's favorite book? What makes it ironic? Can it be considered as foreshadowing further events? So this question is amazing because it helps you. It helps show if you really paid attention in the book, if you really showed that you grasp the ideas of the novel, you know what foreshadowing is, you know what literary elements are. So this question is really good. So the favorite book is Rustam and Sohrab. I think that's what it's called, yes. And what makes it ironic is that Rustam killed Sohrab, and then one betrayed the other. And then later, Rustam finds out that Sohrab is his son. And it's the same thing with this, is that Amir betrayed Hassan by letting Asif assault Hassan. And then later, Amir finds out that Hassan is his brother after Hassan died. And the more ironic thing is that Hassan ends up calling his son Sohrab, who was also assaulted by Asif. So this is how it's kind of foreshadowing, because we find out that Amir and Hassan are brothers, and then Hassan calls his son Sohrab. So this is how it's ironic, and this is how it's considered foreshadowing. So you have to make sure that you answer, when you have these questions, you have to make sure you answer every single question, because here you have 3 question marks, so you have to have 3 different answers, of course, with elaboration, because elaboration is very important in literature. And then lastly, we have this last question that we can answer. So hidden meaning. So basically this is just to see if you understood the different figurative languages. So you have, so what is the meaning behind each of these underlined quotes? Who said them? What type of figurative language is being used? And how are you able to identify it? So here we have to say, because we have to analyze, because the past claws its way out. So first, what's the meaning behind the underlined quote? So basically we have to say that the meaning behind this underlined quote is that the past is never hidden, and it's always going to come back, because this is a simile, and this is a metaphor, because it's comparing the past to an animal, because animals have claws and it never stays in its place. And who said it? So the narrator said it, which is Amir, because the novel is in first person. What type of figurative language is being used? I already said it. It's a metaphor, and it can be considered maybe personification because the past can't actually claw its way out. So it can be considered both. And how are you able to identify it? So we can identify due to the fact that the past cannot claw its way out. So we can say it's a personification, and we can say it's a metaphor because it's comparing how the past always comes out like an animal using its claws. And oh, can you guys see? Yes, you guys can see. But right then when I wished I could open my veins and drain his cursed blood from my body. So what is the meaning behind the underlined quote? So basically the meaning behind this quote is after Baba did not pay any attention to Amir after Amir showed him his novel. So Amir wanted nothing to do with Baba at this point. He no longer wanted to be related to him because he hated him that much. He was that angry to the point where he hated him so much where he no longer wanted to be related to him whatsoever. Who said it? So Amir obviously said it. What type of figurative language is being used? So this is a hyperbole because Amir is extra exaggerating a lot, and he can't actually drain Baba's blood out of his body, but he's so mad to the point where he wants to do so. And how was I able to identify it? So I was able to identify it because so this, one second. So basically, how someone's able to identify this is because Amir can't actually open his veins and drain his cursed blood out of his body, but the exaggeration, the point of exaggeration, elaborates how much Amir hates him and how angry he is, and hyperbole is the point of exaggeration. So that's why we can explain how this is exaggerated, and then we can say it's in hyperbole. Last one. Children aren't coloring books. You don't get to fill them with your favorite colors. So basically, this is a metaphor because, this is, okay, so what is the meaning of this quote? So basically, children come out in different shapes and forms, and you can't always have them the way you want them to be because you can't design them. They're not for design. While as coloring books are for design, and you choose the exact same way you want your coloring book to choose because you choose the colors while coloring. Yet when it comes to children, you don't do that. You don't choose the way they are. You just have to accept them and love them the way they are. And who said it? Rahim Khan said this. What type of figurative language is being used? This is obviously a metaphor because there's no comparison tools, but it's comparing children to coloring books. And how are you able to identify it? So basically, Rahim Khan is saying that children aren't coloring books because you can't fill them with your favorite colors. So he's comparing the two things, but he did not use any comparison tools. And then you have exercise 5, which we cannot answer together. I don't know if you guys can see it, but as you're writing, discuss 2 or more themes displayed in the novel. So we can't really talk about this, but we actually can. So we can discuss the themes of the novel, but we can't, write the whole essay. So basically the themes of the novels are guilt and redemption, the main themes. Then we have family, like Amir, Hassan, Baba, Ali, all of this. And then you have betrayal, because there's a lot of betrayal, the parallelism between Baba and Ali and Amir and Hassan. And then you have male friendship or brotherhood. And these are the main themes, I guess. So this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you another time. Bye.